Today I'm going to be holding a live stream with a guest, and I will wait a minute so she can join us. Good day. Today I'm going to be holding a live stream with Darshan. Let me just invite her. And we're going to be talking about how to make your wishes come true. Where do we start, and how do we start as well? I think this is the most important. Hello, Darshan. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream and both of us collaborating to do this live stream.
Thank you so much for the nudge. I totally
Hello,
get it.
hello. Well, so today we have quite a few things that we want to talk about and share. And I just want to quickly give a few viewpoints about what it is that we're going to talk about. So, one of the things that we will be talking about is how we connected. Me and Darshan have never met in person, but we have online, and we have worked together. And so, we'll talk about how that happened, and I will share something that even Darshan doesn't know about our first meeting, really, our first interaction, really. And we'll also talk about how do we bring yoga and meditation into our life to make our wishes come true. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding behind this, and there's no real clarity. And so today we will both talk about this and how can you start a business, how can you grow a business, how can you get promotions or create more cash flow at work, anything it is. So we will talk a lot about this. And I think the first thing we will really do is just talk about what we just went through recently with both of our teachers, Dasha Kabalova. So recently, we both attended a very special and the most powerful meditation practice, essentially, or you could say like a very special workshop that focuses on healing the entire body, the entire mind. Do you want to share what was the process and the preparation we had to go through before we even started the practice, the special meditation?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. It was a week process before we were on a green diet. We took some uh, we did some extra yoga, some extra meditation to detox and cleanse and really set our bodies and minds up to for this japa course that we had.
Yeah.
And you know, Dasha said, she kept encouraging that green diet to so you're not in pain, right? You're not. Well, I had to test the waters. I was about 80%.
Into the diet or
Yeah,
just,
yeah, into the diet. No, I did all the practices and everything and showed up and I was there for the seminars, but 80%, and I had my caffeine and all that and I felt
yeah.
it. I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah,
And
I had a very similar process. So with this japa, just to share, in a japa, we have to sit for hours without moving and we recite one mantra over and over and over. And it's done in a very special space where the teacher who's holding the japa takes all of your karma, all of your stress, your problems in life, and she takes it and then sends it into the universe. And before we can even get into this process of doing a japa, let's say we take a mantra and we just start to chant it, it does nothing. It doesn't change the vibration, it doesn't heal us, which is very common. We feel that, this mantra, it sounds really good, or it sounds like it's really powerful. It came from this teacher, so let me do it. And it will change my life. But it doesn't work this way. It's a very special and a very difficult process, especially in Kundalini Yoga. And before we even get to this point of being able to do the japa, we have to heal the body, detox the body, strengthen the nervous system, stabilize the psyche, release our emotional blocks, and then only can we start the process of the japa. It's a very difficult process. And this is why our teacher, Dasha Kabalova, had us prepare a whole week before. And could you share a little bit about the green diet as well? Because I don't know if anyone or many people know about the green diet.
Well, it's everything green, right? So everybody was sharing what they were trying, what they were eating. I think there was also buckwheat and quinoa, which I'm not a big fan of. So what I made a lot of that week was green puree soups.
Mm-hmm.
I just steamed, I steamed a bunch of zucchinis and broccolis and spinach and asparagus, and I made these really yummy puree soups, and I ate that all week long. And
Wow.
yeah, but I mean, it gives you so much energy, right? That all that green, that chlorophyll just really oxygenate. I don't know, it
Yeah,
just really fuels the body. But I
for
did,
sure.
yeah, but I mean, I did get into some coffee here and there because
Yeah. I so with the green diet, we're not allowed to have any sugar, not anything fried, no salt. The only things you can eat are green fruits, green vegetables, green nuts, also unsalted, unroasted. And the vegetables, they can be either steamed or cooked, but not fried. This is one thing. So the food that you're eating on the green diet is very bland. You can also add buckwheat, green buckwheat, quinoa. You can add green lentils, but again, you have no salt. You can't really add any flavor except for vegetables. Um, and I remember just if you go through this green diet itself, it is quite hell. It's very difficult. After the first day or two, usually if you're already used to doing this, that's when you kind of start to feel it. But the first time I ever did this diet, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was the worst thing to ever happen to me because in my growing up, my mom, who's Punjabi, has cooked very flavorful food. So I can't like the idea of no salt, no like masala, tarka. Oh, I was like, this is the worst thing. But when I began to really practice with my teacher, I fell in love with this diet.
yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't fallen in love with it. You've given that diet a few times when I've been in your classes, in your workshops. Um, but I did really apply. It was my birthday that week and early on the ninth. So it was like, okay, well, you can, have I don't know. I had a little bit more, I had a
Mhm.
little dairy. I had some feta in my salad. And I
I
said,
mean,
no dessert, no birthday cake. And everyone's like, come on. I'm
yeah.
like, okay, I'll just take a bite of the ice cream. That's it.
Well, we had my partner's birthday was on the 10th that week. And so we celebrated all of us with, except for his younger brother, all of us with the green diet food, which
Yeah.
is really sad. It was like, this is not really like, a way to celebrate. But at the same time, we had started the diet, I think, 2 days before that,
Yeah.
and I felt so good from it, which was not normally the case, but I was like as if I really wanted to go through this process. But anyways, we're kind of getting off track, but I wanted to share this because in general, especially with the New Year's coming, we're going to be overeating and indulging in everything. So I feel like if anybody wants to try it, like after the New Year's, you can write to us and we can share with you, even if it's just like one meal a day on how to do this diet because it's very, very rejuvenating. And you can do it even if you're doing very strenuous activities like workouts, weightlifting. I've done it with weightlifting on this diet, and I have 3 times more energy. And
Yeah, I had a
it's
lot of
really
energy.
surprising.
I had a lot of energy, and then, I regretted having even just a half a cup of the coffee because I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So live and learn, but it was great. It was really awesome.
Yeah. Well, with the japa, the reason I wanted to start talking about this is because when we go through a japa, both Darshan and I are certified Kundalini Yoga teachers. How long have you been practicing and how long have you been certified? I mean, collectively.
Oh, like since 1996.
Wow.
So that's when I took my first teacher training here in Los Angeles at Yoga West. And then with Dasha's,
Hmm.
past year, which was like phenomenal. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
nothing like it.
So, wow. There's many, many years of Kundalini Yoga. Well, I've been practicing for 21 years. I started at a very young age, and I was certified at the school that was founded by Yogi Bhajan, Midipiri Academy. Yeah, and I was very, very fortunate to go through and learn this entire process of Kundalini Yoga. What is it? And then after graduating from Midipiri, I met my teacher, who is my partner's mother also. And I began to slowly learn from her. Like I didn't know at all that what she was teaching really or how that was different from normal Kundalini Yoga. But that's what I want to talk about because for everyone who's here, especially if you're interested in prosperity, in general, 99% of Kundalini Yoga teachers do not know how to teach prosperity or how to create prosperity in your life because for many teachers they have never gone through a process that we have with our teacher Dasha Kabalova of learning through the meditative silence. And this is the way the masters of Kundalini Yoga used to teach us through a state of pure silence. And I'll give a quick example of what that really means for you as a client or a student, whoever wants, if you ever want to practice, is if I were the master at that time, you would come to me for a class and I would sit in silence. And in that silence, I would see where your blocks are. Why do you have this problem? Why this health issue, this prosperity issue comes up? Because it's very different for everyone. And from there, I would select a practice that would work specifically for you and your blocks. And this is the way the masters of Kundalini Yoga used to teach. But it was not the way the last master of Kundalini Yoga taught to everyone because it was very difficult. It is a very, very difficult process to be able to feel precisely what is happening to a client, what is happening to someone else, and to understand how to precisely help them. But he did teach essentially the basics of Kundalini Yoga. And this is what majority of Kundalini Yoga teachers know how to do. And both Darshan and I underwent a special intensive training with Dasha Kabalova, who is a Sun Sign Kundalini Yoga teacher trainer, and she has the biggest Sun Sign school in the world, with over 280,000, yes, 280,000 students around the world. And she's also a self-made millionaire. So she really understands how do we apply Kundalini Yoga, meditation, a meditative state, and bring it into your life to make your wishes come true. And this is not the case for any or every Kundalini Yoga teacher, because the process and the training we underwent is very different than most. So this is something I wanted to clarify in case you're wondering. Well, I've seen other Kundalini yoga teachers talk about it. It's a very different thing from what we do. So I wanted to really quickly share that. Um, for me, what really happened, and I want to talk about the way me and Darshan connected in the beginning, was I had started this Instagram channel, I think 7, 8 years ago. I can't remember the exact date. And I was having a lot of difficulty talking about myself, talking about Kundalini yoga. I didn't have the ability to speak really, or to communicate and share about my classes. And I had a very difficult time getting clients. And at the same time, here was this one problem of how do I market myself? How do I get clients? How do I start my own business, make it successful? And then on the other hand, where it was more personal issues, I had a lot of issues, a lot of drama, a lot of fight, and a lot of tension and conflict between my family and I. And we were on a very different page, and we just were not connecting in any way. And there were a lot of problems, and it was at a point where I really felt I don't think I will ever speak to them again. And I don't think I will be happy to never see them again. It was very, very difficult period in my life. And at that time, I just wanted to be able to connect to them. And even if we are very different, and we still are, I just wanted to have some state of balance or harmony, understanding, compassion, bare minimum between us, because I love them, they love me, but we were so different. Nothing in terms of what we want to do in life connects really. We're very, very different people. So we couldn't get on the same page, and that was creating a lot of conflict. And I had a lot of conflict as well with myself. I was very depressed. I was very insecure. I felt I don't know anything. I can't do anything. I don't know what I really want to do. And whenever I would think about my wishes or my goals, I would get very angry and depressed. It was not inspiring. Some people say, well, think about your dream life. I say that now. I say that now, but it used to really piss me like, think about your dream life. Think about, if you could do something and you could expand yourself, you could make the money you want, what would you do? How would you live? And whenever I used to hear this, it used to make me so angry. It's like, yeah, well, easy for you to say. Like, maybe that's easy for you, but I can't do that. It's not a possibility for me. So, I used to get very angry at the idea of prosperity. It was so overwhelming because I thought, I can't do that. I can't do that at all. I have no way of creating connections. I was very young at the time, I think 19. And I really felt there's just no path forward. And I just wanted some harmony, some love and support in my life. And that week where I really felt I'm so done with everything, I don't know where to go, I'm so stuck, my teacher announced a japa. And this was a japa for love, a japa that changes your internal vibration so that it allows you to feel loved, it allows you to be connected to the universe and to understand how beautiful, how powerful, how wonderful you are right now in your life. And I went through this job, and I think around a week or two later, out of nowhere, you messaged me. I think you were subscribed to my channel, and you wrote to me how you really loved one of the posts I wrote. And at that time, before that, I really had a lot of difficulty communicating. I felt I don't really know what to say. I'm not good at really expressing what I mean to say or what I want to say. But after the japa, I just started to write from the heart. Even though it wasn't perfect, even though, it wasn't very professional, I just started to write from the heart. And that week, you wrote to me after the japa. And you told me how that post really connected with you and that you wanted to send me a gift because it really changed the way you felt and it really uplifted you. And I remember tears were falling down my face really when I read this message because I felt as if for the first time, I was able to really be myself, um, and talk from the heart, not trying to impress, not trying to be good, not trying to say, "Oh, look how much I know," just from the heart to speak. And I was also really afraid to do that. It's not very common. I don't see it very common where people speak from the heart, without, trying some agenda behind it. And so I wrote it, and then you wrote to me, and I remember tears falling down my face. And then I had a huge, massive row with my family, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do as soon as I can. I'm leaving. I don't want to come back. And then you wrote to me saying you wanted to send me a gift. And when the gift arrived, it was right at that moment where I felt the loneliest, where I felt like nothing is going to work out. And I ended up reading about the gift that you had sent me, which was beautiful gold earrings with rhodonite. Am I saying the word correctly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I am wearing right now. I don't know if you guys can see. This is from 8 years ago, or maybe, yeah, 7, 8 years ago. These are gold earrings. And I remember reading about gold, rhodonite at that moment and saying how this was for love and for the heart. And I was completely shocked because after the japa, even though I started to write from the heart,
And for you to live your highest destiny, to do what you're meant to do, like to do your highest destiny for you.
wow. Oh, oh yes. Well, it came at such a perfect time where I really felt so lost, and I felt I don't know how I'm going to go forward without any support from the people who are supposed to give you unconditional support. And when the earrings came, I put them on every day, everywhere I walked, and everyone started to give me a lot of compliments. Like random people would come up to me. I'm not kidding. And my brother at the time was like, "Why? Like they're just coming up to you out of nowhere, complimenting you and your earrings, and even on Instagram." And I remember just feeling that here I really felt alone. And then I went through a japa for love, for connection, for harmony within you and with connection to the universe. And then out of nowhere, whatever I wrote connected to you. And so much so that you brought me a gift from, we have never met at that time. We had never actually spoken before that time, and it just connected. And I really understood for the first time that when we go through a process of yoga and meditation, and we begin to cleanse, and release our fears, our blocks, and we begin to change our internal vibration. Maybe it sounds cheesy, but it's the easiest way I can really explain it. But when we begin to change our internal communication, internal vibration, you start to connect to yourself and to the world around you. And I really felt that in that moment. And then you came into my life, and it was just such a beautiful thing. And from there, it wasn't just with you, but it started to happen continuously with everyone. Every wish I had set, every goal, I said, I would love to be able to buy this. I would love to be able to connect with this person, and I would love to be able to work with different yoga studios. And everyone started to come to me and connect to me, even though I was very new to marketing myself, to being a Kundalini yoga teacher, to having a social media. And now both Darshan and I have just gone through a japa that changes your entire destiny, and it clears your path to prosperity, and it allows you to shape your future exactly as you want in any manner. In any manner. You can say, I want my nose to change shape, and it will give you that ability. And it's such an incredible thing that we just went through. And with this, the quality and also just what we'll be offering in our classes Darshan here is a jewelry. Can you explain exactly?
Yeah. Yes, I teach, and then I am a jeweler, and
A jeweler.
my niche is Vedic astrology jewelry.
Hmm.
So people will come to me with they see a Vedic astrologer and they've been recommended to wear very precise gemstones, and I custom source their gemstones and create a piece that will look beautiful on them and be like an energetic, just perfect fit. Or I will look at their chart myself and do a reading and do a deep dive and kind of see where they're at in their evolution and journey and kind of what their blocks are just from a planetary aspect, and then suggest very precise gemstones based on their blueprint in their life and where they're at and what they want. And there's like all these different variables, but it's very precise. And and now combined with this deeper practice I have, which is that I've just been through, is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it was even though you didn't know me, even though you didn't know my Vedic chart, you connected straight exactly at the exact moment to what I needed.
No, and I mean when you're saying that, it blows my mind because I forget, exactly until now what you're saying. And I'm like, I remember that post. I don't know, I saw you and I was just like, and I read it and I just got teary-eyed, when you're talking, I'm like, "Gulp, gulp, gulp." Because it penetrated right to my heart, and I started to remember myself, and like it like activated my own heart and woke my soul up. And I was like, wow, who is this? She's from Itty Pitty. That's the school I always wanted to go to. I mean, I found out about it years later, but I was like, those kids are like so special, you know? And and anyhow, yeah, no, I just remember it was like that post pierced right to my heart, right to my soul, to the deepest core. And I didn't really have an understanding, and I've never done that before. I never just said, hey, yeah, I never did that. I never wrote to anybody on Instagram. I never just wanted to send these gifts, I never did, but I just felt like I had to. I was in pure gratitude for you and your share, because it was just so pure, and it just pierced me deep, right, like pinpoint. And it was just wow. I was just like in awe, it was just, I don't know, it was just, that's what it was. And I sent them and I'm like, okay, Singapore. I'm like, what's your zip? You're like, there, I don't know. You told me there's no zip code, or there's no, and I was just like, okay, well, I really hope she gets them.
Well, I absolutely love them. I still have them. And yeah, I switched them out with all of my jewelry. But actually, it was when you sent me these earrings, I decided at that moment I only want to buy and wear real gemstones. And it was like, I absolutely love wearing jewelry. And I was like, this is a very difficult choice to make because that means I get rid of everything else I have. And I did because I don't know why, but when I started wearing this, I really felt I begin to connect to myself and to the world even faster. And so if you guys want, go check out, Darshan has a website with the most beautiful jewelry, and I have ordered them well, she sent them from the US to Singapore and to Spain as well. My partner got me a gift from your website, which I actually used during the japa, which was a mala. So I'll actually have them right here. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Maybe you can do a live stream about japas and malas as well, because I've had this for 3 years now, and it's in perfect condition. I've had these earrings for 8 years and they're in perfect condition. So I feel it's the best investment if you want to buy jewelry and you really um, want to connect to yourself. I feel it's this one, especially the rhodonite with the gold, is the best. I absolutely love them. So thank you so much again.
Yeah, no, I mean, before my training with Dasha, which was very intense in the most amazing way, going deeper and deeper within and into that silence and really feeling everything. You know, I Yogi Bhajan was my first teacher, and he wore jewelry, big
Oh my
pieces. And I was
God.
always like, oh my gosh, like,
Like
wow.
he had rings that were this big, like diamond, sapphire, yeah,
Yes.
yellow sapphire. Oh my goodness. And Yogi Bhajan is the master of Kundalini Yoga. Before he passed away, he was the last master of Kundalini Yoga that we had. And yeah, he loved and talked about jewelry all of the time. And when you sent me this, I remembered how he talked about them, and I was like, okay, that's it. You have set into my heart and my soul that I only want to wear something that really changes your vibration. I'm not an expert in jewelry, but please, if you do want a piece, go check out Darshan's website. They're some of the most beautiful pieces. I have, I think, 3 or 4 pieces from you in total.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then from Yogi Bhajan, just learning from him, my personal practice, discipline. I learned a lot from him when he passed. I moved into the sphere of Gurudev, who is the master of Satnam Rasayan, of deep silence and sensitivity. And he really worked with me on my sensitivity and becoming more aware of following the energy, right? And that's kind of how I've always worked with gemstones and clients, and I connect with the person. And then as I'm sourcing gemstones, I feel that the energy of the gem and I connect that with my clients. So it's like a nice energetic match.
Yeah,
And, and I sourced him some rings or some gemstones for pieces that he wore. And then when he had clients, he needed a beautiful custom piece. I created a custom piece for one of his clients to
oh
give.
wow.
And it was just like amazing, like the biggest, you know, honor to do this for my teacher. And anyhow, I'm just really grateful. I guess I'm still always discovering like the depth of being a student of Yogi Bhajan and Gurudev, and then with you, and now with Dasha. It's just like blows me away. Just I go deeper and deeper and deeper, and then I start to understand the patterning a little bit more, and it's really cool, and how I'm able to just hone all of this into my own practice and what I offer my clients.
Absolutely. I mean, when I can't even explain exactly how much it meant to me and how much these earrings really connected to me. And you didn't know me at that time. So anyone who's interested in jewelry, you can write to you. And do you offer consultations on this topic of how to select and create the pieces?
Yeah, I meet people where they are. I mean, some
Mhm.
people want a gemstone reading, some people want to look deeper into an overview of their astrology, and some people just want to talk, and I tune in. It's like a concierge. I work with everybody one on one. My business is me, and I have a shop with amazing artisans that I've been working with for many years, and I source gemstones all over the world, and I have beautiful connections with my sources all over the world. And for me, that's so important because all of the energy exchanges are going into this piece, to my client. And that is all part of the vibration. So everything has to hold like a very high vibrational frequency
Yeah.
because all my pieces are made to bring many blessings.
Yeah, for sure. I can say that for sure. Well, I want to also now move on to how do we incorporate yoga and meditation and create prosperity in our life? Because there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. Um, would you mind if I started with my experience and then you could share
Yeah, yeah.
yours? So for many years, I've been practicing Kundalini Yoga. And before I met my teacher, who's a self-made millionaire, who has the biggest healer school in the world of Sanamar Science, I had done, I mean, 1 to 3 hour of meditation every day before meeting her. And I had done all of the most powerful meditations. I had done some of the most popular, the biggest prosperity meditations. My parents selected them for me because they said, well, it's your name, so do it and you'll create prosperity. And throughout my life, it was the exact opposite. I was never able to create prosperity. When I got older and I started to find jobs, part-time, long-term, I always somehow ended up picking the jobs at the worst conditions, worst employer, horrible pay, overworked, undervalued. And it was really funny because in my entire life, I have done prosperity meditations. I mean, it's like it will create prosperity in your life. And when I met my teacher, I was extremely depressed. And after my previous job, I was really burnt out. And I really felt I never wanted to work again. It was just horrible experience after a horrible experience. Even though I took up 4 different jobs at 4 different companies with 4 different bosses, I attracted the same kind of people, same kind of pay. I was miserable every time. And I couldn't understand why this was happening. Why do I keep attracting um, places, people, jobs where I'm miserable, unable to grow or fulfill myself or to be valued at all? And when I met my teacher, I wanted to work with anxiety, and she said, let's work with prosperity instead. And I hated it. I said, oh my God, please, no, I'm so sick of this topic. I've done this my entire life and I can't seem to create any prosperity in my life. And she began to show me how do we actually walk with prosperity. Because the idea of let me just do a prosperity meditation and it will make me prosperous is very bizarre. And it doesn't make sense, nor does it work. As I had experienced 15 years prior to that, it doesn't work. So she began to show me how do we really walk with prosperity? How does meditation walk with prosperity? For me, she had me work first with my brain and renewing my brain and working with anxiety. Because this was the main thing. My brain was overwhelmed and very, very fatigued and had very less energy from the constant anxiety, constant stress. And it created more anxiety within me. And so I was always super anxious. And so whenever I had an idea about I can do this to make money, or especially I never could do this, is at my jobs, I never negotiated a higher pay, or I never just left it or tried to find a different opportunity where I would get paid more. I was just convinced that all companies are evil. Everyone is going to pay me the same. I will never be able to speak up for myself or say or negotiate, this is what I want. And this is how my prosperity was blocked. It wasn't that I needed to stimulate prosperity within me. And this is true for every client who has come to me for prosperity is I never need to give them a prosperity meditation because it's not needed at all. The main block is always fear. And it impacts us differently. It's always fear though. And so she had me work with healing my brain so I could stabilize my state, my energy, my mood, my hormones. So we worked with healing the brain. And then she had me work with relieving my fears. So every day I began to do meditations that worked on relieving my fears, stabilizing my brain, and I started to create different opportunities. For the first time, I think in 4 years, I have gone to the person I was working with at the time and negotiated a higher salary for myself. And this was before I even considered working for myself, starting my own business, teaching yoga. This was way before that. I I don't even know how I really got to that point, but I never had that idea of I want to start my own business. I was like, it's impossible. I can't do it. It's not for me. But when she began to have me work with my fears and healing my brain, I just started to have a lot of ideas. And one of them was I wanted to teach yoga. I wanted to teach meditation, especially when I began to work with my teacher, Dasha Kabalova, because I felt the difference in the way she taught and the way she meditated compared to every other teacher I had ever met before that. I got to meet the master Sanamar Sai, but I did very few classes with him. And I was very young at the time, so I didn't understand or know who he really was, what he did. So I would not say those really counted in terms of learning from him, not the way you got to. I just got to attend his classes, which were amazing, which were really healing. But in Kundalini Yoga, you need a teacher you're with 24/7, essentially. Classes, personal work, not because of anything crazy or spiritual, but because your teacher in Kundalini Yoga, they see you and they see all of your blocks, all of your fears, what you need, how to grow. And this is what mine and Dasha's teacher, Darshan's teacher, Dasha does, is she sees us every month. We're in her classes, in personal work if we want. And she sees, okay, well, this month you have a lot of shame or a lot of guilt, a lot of sexual blocks coming up. So we need to work with this topic. And then we work on this topic, and it's exactly what you need at this time. Like some months where you just have a lot of fears and you just feel overwhelmed by everything. And then another month you just have a lot of energy, but you have no idea where to start. Where do I put my energy in? True? And this is kind of what a Kundalini Yoga teacher does with the training and the way that Darshan and I teach is we see precisely what you need at this time. Precisely what you need. Where in your life you have a lot of stress, what in your subconscious needs to be worked out. Maybe this month you need to work more on your physical body. And so we see that, and this is how a Kundalini Yoga teacher, the way the masters used to teach, is just see what you need and they guide you. And in this lineage, as you begin to go through this process, it gives you the strength and the stability to go through any phase in your life. So whether it's traumas at this time, the economy is really bad. How do we personally, how do we carry ourselves? How do we carry our family, our friends? And it gives you that stability, that inner meditative silence to face all of your stress, all of your situations. And our teacher, Dasha Kabalova, she is one of the experts in prosperity. And this is why we learn from her prosperity, because she understood and herself went through the process of building her business from zero to a couple thousand to 10,000 to 100,000 euros a month. And she did it also, by the way, as a single mother of two children. So I don't know. I don't think it's something you think it's just lucky, but it's something she really built. And at the same time, she did it, she's Russian, so she did it in a country that is not prosperous. So for me, it was really inspiring because when I visited Russia for the first time, I thought it was going to be really cheap. I was like, wow, it's Russia, like the rubles, the currency is so weak, like compared to Singapore dollars, it's gonna be really like I can be rich there. And I went there and I was surprised, but everything was so expensive. And I said, I couldn't afford groceries. And I was really shocked. So I turned to my partner and I said, how do people live here? How much do they earn a month? And he said, well, the average was 20,000 rubles, which was about, okay, in today's world, it's around 400 euros. And this was years ago. I don't know if that has changed. This was around 7 years ago. So the average was 400 euros.
Wow.
And I just couldn't understand how do people become prosperous there? How do they afford to buy groceries? And it's cold winters there, so you need a lot of warm clothes and boots and everything. And I was just thinking, how do you afford that? And for me, it was just such a kind of a awakening to understand that we have the possibility to grow in prosperity anywhere. The only limitation, and the first limitation, the hardest to overcome, is the one within us, our own thoughts, fears, our beliefs about ourselves and about the world. And
Yes.
when my teacher began to work with me to release my fears, heal my brain, my own perception of self began to change. And I began to feel more safe and more calm. And I began to see, what can I do at this time with very less money, with no opportunities? What can I do now, today, to start to change that or to get to what I want? Whether it's to buy a dress, to travel, um, to work less, to get more opportunities in life. And so this is how we started to work. Do you want to share your experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I've always I always felt like I had to work really hard to make money, like
Mhm.
really hard. And there's like the show horse and then there's the workhorse in the companies, right? There, and I was always the workhorse. I had a lot of power and I just powered through to make everything happen and get in the trenches and to make money and be prosperous. And then um I don't know, things started to change when I was around Yogi Bhajan and then with Gurudev, things just kind of like lightened up. I got more with Yogi Bhajan, I got more into um like I wanted to teach. That's all I wanted to do was teach. But back then there was nobody like Dasha, nobody teaching and empowering and showing, guiding their students how to really make money to be a yoga teacher or a
Mhm.
meditation teacher. Like there was nothing. Like you took a course and then okay, go. And it was just, chant hud for like 11 minutes. You know how many times I've done that over my life and nothing changed?
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. I felt good for like, okay, 20 minutes out, whatever. But then life was the same, right? And I was always working hard to be a, prosperous yoga teacher, prosperous meditation teacher. And so I just kind of went, eh. And I started working again, right? I got back into retail and sales, and that's where I wanted to, because I needed to like live. I live in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and and I teach on the side here and there because I loved it, but it was not sustainable. And then Yogi Bhajan passed, and then I was around Gurudev more, and I started going, practicing more Satnam Rasayan classes here in LA. And whenever he was here, I would take his classes, and I'd have privates with him. And life was magical when I was around him. I mean, everything was like big and expansive. I became super prosperous in my career. I was traveling all over. I'd line up my business travels with the city he was in the US, and so I could go to his classes. That I mean, it was amazing. I always remember feeling like invincible, like the Force was with me, Star Wars. When I was around Dave, it was so magical all the time. I was like, wow. And then, you know, he traveled less, and his health was declining, and he passed. And that magic seemed to what I connect with seemed like it just kind of disappeared. Like and then at some point I came across you on social media, and your truth penetrated right into me. And I was just watching, and then I started to take your classes. I got to a place where I really needed real change. And I felt your truth, like the same truth I felt with Gurudev and with Yogi Bhajan, like real truth, not like, okay, let me look into, let's open this Kundalini Yoga manual and teach this class. No, it was so different. And it was just like, oh my God,
Well,
because
thank
I was
you.
experiencing real change in my life. I started to balance out. I was depressed. I was sad. I was always crying. I didn't, it's just my life went into a decline without
Hmm.
a spiritual teacher, without a personal yoga meditation teacher of Kundalini yoga lineage, Satnam Rasayan.
Yeah.
That's the fact. And and then working with you for 2 years, 2 years, all your classes, everything. And then, you at one point you told me, okay, Darshan, like where you're at now, you have to work with Dasha. You have to work with Dasha. This is something very precise that she can help you with. The next time she's teaching da 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 da, like the subconscious, what, like go, and I'm like, I was just devastated. I'm like, she speaks Russian.
Yeah.
You have a Russian boyfriend, like you can get translation. You're in already. I'm like, what do
Oh,
you mean?
but you did. You
I
went.
did. I did. And I'm there 9 months, and wow, like wow. Like she's you know, again, my life, you got me really stable and got me thinking, like I was seeing hope, and I was taking action in my life, and I was doing things, and I, had to overcome some health stuff with her, and
Yeah.
everything else just started to open up for me then, and here I am, it's just feeling that magic that I used to feel with Gurdev, or with the Yogi Bhajan, with you, all of it just like magnified, right? Just like I'm in this school, this amazing school, that's something I always dreamed I could be in and never even knew it existed, right?
Yeah.
When I learned about Mini Pity Academy, I was like 25, 26 years old. I'm like, God, that was so cool. I wish I could have gone to a high school like that,
Yeah.
And here I am in this amazing school where I get to practice every day and go to seminars and have a personal practice, and, go deeper into silence, and, with Satnam Rasayan and this Japa course and just like everything. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning now from all of you teachers, is that the right, just, well, with Dasha teaching this, is just going into deep silence and feeling, and really connecting within and feeling everything, and feeling my clients and where they're at, their exact state in the
Hmm.
moment, and being able to give them the precise practice to do in the moment to lift their blocks, lift
Yeah.
their spirit, lift whatever, whatever's going on, just to help elevate. And I love it. And I feel so grateful, that
Yeah.
I'm, this is this is where I'm at. And I get to help clients like this all the time now, combined with what I already do, my, in jewelry, my sensitivity, and looking at them from from an overview, just as like a blueprint of your astrology. It's not that astrology defines you at all. It's just understanding deeper layers of you and why you are the way you are, and then working with that energy through Kundalini yoga and meditation to like
Hmm.
to break these patterns that we are karmically in, that definitely don't define us, and we don't have to be there. It's a choice. And
Yeah.
if you want to heal and move through the limitations that hold you back in your prosperity, you can do very precise practices to help release those energies or those feelings that keep you small or confined or limited.
Yeah.
And it's limitless, and then combined with like the precise gemstone, looking at your chart, like which planets are your biggest supporters in this world, and what are those planets, how are they, what are the lessons for you, what are they trying to teach you,
Hmm.
and on a different level, right? And then combining, and then aligning with the lessons with Kundalini yoga, with meditation to help support you to move through these blueprint blocks, I
Yeah.
think it's really cool. Yogi Bhajan always looked to astrology. I know Gurudev did too. They wore very precise gemstones for very precise readings. Yogi Bhajan had a huge red coral ring, and he would call it his his like smog detector. Like it would just clear all the funk, right? The smog, the
Hmm.
dirty air. And that's why they were so sensitive to energy, and
Yeah.
and they knew the power of gemstones. I mean, these grow in the earth for hundreds of thousands of years, and they hold a certain frequency. Even, I know emerald is a stone that I'm supposed to, is a very good stone for me. It's,
Hmm.
and I always just, there's always, I'm growing. There's a little bit of resistancy for that. Dasha's working with me on my communication, and Emerald works with Mercury, the planet of communication and expression, and what you put out into the world. And you wear it on your pinky. And I've noticed her beautiful emerald, and I'm like, oh my God. So I finally, I ordered one for myself, and it's coming, and it's a beautiful Colombian emerald, and I'm really excited to create a beautiful ring for myself and really just surrender to my throat chakra, you know,
Yeah.
issues or whatever, and really connect to Mercury, the Mercury within me, my communication and expression and what I put out there into the world, combined with my personal practices that I'm given.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's so cool, So it's like there was a quote, that they out in the world, that millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. And it's true. It's like when you know what's going on, you can work with the energy. And it just kind of blends so well with Kundalini yoga and meditation, Satnam. It's all energy, and we're just looking at it from different ways, different angles to open up and release those stuck,
Absolutely.
blocked energies and emotions, so that you can move freely in the world and feel confident and secure, steady, stable, and with like that strong projection, knowing precisely exactly what you want. And when that happens, it's like the whole universe will kind of shifts for you, everything outside, when you're clear within. And so I think for me, that's what I have found with Kundalini yoga and meditation. And then gemstones and astrology. It's just all of it is working together to create that one pointedness, that focus. But really, it's clearing out those subconscious blocks in a personal consultation, in private meditation classes with a teacher, so that someone like Harsimran or myself or Dasha, can just support you in clearing those blocks so that you live your highest destiny and achieve every wish, every goal that you want in life, you know? And the
Yeah.
more steady you become within, it's just life is always going to happen. Okay. It's not that things aren't going to be challenging ever, but the more you feel steady within and that one pointedness, it's like all the shit will go flying off, that double-edged sword, it's like it's not sticking to you. And it's just, and when you're so steady like that, you can see all the angles, right? Darts, my whatever, coming challenges coming at you from all directions. And then you're like a martial artist, right? It's like you see the angles and you can move in between. Or it's like you're on a sailboat at sea and the wind died. It's like, okay, where's the wind? And you adjust the sails so that you can like start moving again in direction of your dreams, your goals, your wishes. And that's the beauty of having a personal practice and working with a, a Kundalini Yoga teacher, meditation to guide you to find those angles in life, to set you free to really prosper and grow in any area aspect of your life, whether it's your bank account or in your family relationships, your friend, I mean,
Health.
whatever you want. It's like
Yeah.
it's all there. And the cool thing is that, learning from Dasha, it's like she works with us on literally everything to be
Yeah.
like literally everything to be the best that we can totally be. And then we use that same, those teachings, we apply them to ourselves, and from our own experience we know how to help others that come to us, which is like,
Absolutely. And it's as you just said that she walks with us to be great, and to expand at everything. I think a few months ago I realized that um, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was talking with my partner and he was point talking about what he wanted to learn, to study. And I remember thinking that's so difficult. Like, I don't know why you would put, like, he would have to put years into learning this thing. And it's very difficult. And, it would cost a lot of money. And I was just thinking, I can't do that. And then I kind of had an epiphany at that moment that within me, I've never had that expectation or that image or even the desire to want to do and be the best at everything. It feels like it feels very greedy, which is, it's strange. Why would it be greedy? But I had that feeling of, it's greedy. You shouldn't be perfect or best at everything or grow in every aspect.
mm,
And another point I had is just within me, I never had that desire to want to grow, really, to change much. I'm okay with things that are normal. And if it's normal life, normal everything, it's fine. You don't need much, be happy with it. But when I met my teacher and I began to live with her and learn from her and then see the way she works with people, I started to have this feeling within me that started to grow of I want to be good at something. I want to be the best at something. I want to dedicate years into something and become great at it, exceptional at it. And it's strange, but I feel I've never really had anyone in my life, or I've never met anyone in my life that truly strives for that. I think this is a human quality that's been lost to 99% of us, where we are okay with, as long as I have enough money to pay rent, as long as I'm healthy enough, I don't need to look the best, as long as I'm not overweight, but I'm still fine. And we're kind of at that point of just normal, like normal medium living. But when I began to live with her and learn from her, I started to realize that I wanted to grow. And I never had that because I had a lot of fear. I had so many fears, so many insecurities about myself. My self image and my self worth was so down in the dumps that the idea was just horrifying, and it made me angry, it made me depressed. And I started to walk with her and recognize that this is what blocks me from being happy, from being healthy, from being prosperous, from even starting. The idea of I have to do something every day seems daunting. Or, we have a lot of excuses that comes up as well, which is like meditation is not for me. For me, I remember my brother came to me and he was saying, he had this issue. And I said, that sounds like the easiest thing to work through. And I said, why don't you just go sign up for a consultation? Because you're not supposed to do consultations with your own family members. So I said, do it with Dasha or my partner, who's not directly related to you. And it's like, oh, it's not really for me. I don't really want to do it. And it was the easiest thing we could have worked through yoga and meditation. And I realized that we have such a resistance to prosperity, to happiness, to growing, to becoming the best at something, or even to put in years of effort into something. It's like, oh, can't do that. It's too much, or nothing is going to come out of it. But if we start to, like right now, if anyone's here who wants to work with prosperity, if you write down your biggest goal, your biggest wish, and then recognize it, like if you write down a plan on how to achieve this, either you won't have any ideas, or you will have ideas, never act upon them, or you will be really depressed reading them. You think, oh, it's impossible, I can't do it. And then if you sit back and reflect on your thoughts, your fears, your worries, your insecurities, who is stopping you from achieving this? Is it the economy? Is it somebody else? What is it? No, at the end of the day, it's always within us. We stop ourselves from growing. We block our own health, our own prosperity, our own ability to become younger, healthier, more beautiful, more attractive from an emotional standpoint.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just started to realize over the years, I've kind of been going to this point because I grew up always having either like no expectations from my family in terms of like what I should really be achieving other than household cleaning and being a good daughter. That's like the idea of in my society, in my Indian culture around where I grew up and the people around me, it's just like you don't really need to strive for anything. Just be a good daughter, know how to clean, how to cook, how to please your parents, and that's it. That was the idea and the only expectations on me. But when I began to work with prosperity and, even when I started to go to martial art classes, my mother's like, what are you doing? That's not for women. You shouldn't do this. And, you're going to hurt yourself. So many fears start to pressure you down. But then at the end of the day, I began to realize that I have to understand myself. And the first thing, if you want to understand how to change your life, where do I start if you're starting from zero? For me, the easiest was to recognize I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety. I can't do anything unless I meditate and I stabilize my state. And what the meditation does is in mine or Darshan's classes, what we do is we walk through the highest level of Kundalini Yoga and we tune in to you to understand right now why you're unable to make money, why you're falling sick, why you're losing your hair, what is causing the situation. And then we select a practice that will work on this point. and it begins to heal the body. So it will work on a very physical level. So you will start to sleep better, you will start to breathe deeper, your body will start to detox, a lot of trash will start to come out of your body, your digestion will start to improve. Because we in Kundalini Yoga, in the meditations, it works first very physical. And the practices that we teach, the meditations that we teach are not advanced, extreme level. So for me, this is something really, really important to understand, that what it does is it works first on the physical, then through the practices, it begins to work on more of an emotional, mental, subconscious level. And it clears out all of the fears, all of the junk. Why follow Kundalini Yoga when it was created by someone who treated women terribly? Kundalini Yoga was not created by anybody we know. It was created thousands of years ago. And this is a teaching has been passed down for many generations from the last living guru that we know that carried these teachings, who we refer to in Kundalini Yoga, is Guru Ram Das. So he was a Sikh guru, but he also was the Kundalini Yoga and Satnam Science master. And this was a teaching that was passed down by him. And I will say that for somebody who treated women terribly, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and most people don't know or understand anything really about Yogi Bhajan or what he was. And here it was repackaged. I mean, that is, there's some weird filter on my face. It was
Well,
not repackaged.
yeah, I mean, everybody has their own, to each their own, and whatever works for you and whatever resonates for you. If this path doesn't resonate, it's okay. I was a student. Yogi Bhajan was my first student, was my first teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Never had any issues, you know? He was a blessing to me. He I've had many magical spiritual situations in my life, and he was like right there. And I'm eternally grateful. You know, everybody has their own karmas. People want whatever, you know.
And for me, I never got to meet Yogi Bhajan directly, but for me, I've never known who to trust, and I've had many situations in my life that were very traumatic. But when I began to learn from my teacher, who follows the exact teachings from Yogi Bhajan without changing a single thing, every meditation, every teaching, and I began to develop my sensitivity and my intuition, I never felt anything off. And I've never had that with any other teacher. And I've never had a situation since I began to learn the exact teachings from my teacher, who has all the lectures, who worked with the master Sanamar Saim. But I found that I have no doubt in my mind and no worry about that. That's not something that comes to me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, throughout my entire life, for 30 years, I've been in Kundalini Yoga and Satnam Science, and I've only received the benefits and the blessings of these teachings. Um, and my life has only gotten better with a spiritual teacher. And when I am not with a spiritual teacher, for me personally, I'm more drifty. I'm out to sea and I have no sense of where the wind is, how to reset my sail to catch the wind and move. It's only with a Kundalini Yoga and meditation teacher that I've been able to move forward in my life and like expand at uh, lightning speed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like a rocket. And it's for me, that's been my path, that's been my life, and I'm eternally grateful. When I saw you on your that post that you did 8 years ago, it just pierced my soul, pierced my heart, and I just felt an instant connection to that truth and to that seed. And then I had no idea who Dasha was. I didn't even know, like you talked about, I'm like, I didn't know, I didn't get it. And now I do. And I'm like incredibly grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Dasha literally teaches us everything that we need to be superhuman, like the best in our life through the technology of Kundalini Yoga and meditation. And if this is something that resonates, you can reach out to her, Simran, or myself.
Absolutely.
We are here to support you in elevating and uplifting your life, in creating your goals, living your highest dreams and aspirations. There's that at the ashram in India where Gurudev would have the Raymond course.
Mm-hmm.
He would say there was a sign, a post that said, it talked about, I'm blanking on the exact, but it was all about like living your highest dreams and aspirations. And I took a picture of that and I was like, oh my God, that's what I want. And my deepest dream was to be in a place, in a school where I could practice Kundalini Yoga, Satnam Rasayan, learn and grow and heal my deepest inner blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I'm at. You led me here. If it was not for you, I had, I mean, I wouldn't, it's the school's in Russian. Dasha teaches us in Russian, and I'm here, and it's the most amazing school ever. She
Yeah.
literally teaches us everything, new topic every month, and so we're constantly polishing our own diamond, right? Every facet is being polished and scrubbed, and it's not always easy, you know, but it's pretty magical. And I think that that's where we're coming from here in our life, because we have these amazing packages that we want to offer our clients and students. If you want to achieve your goals, live your wishes, make them happen, um, we're definitely here to help you achieve that, and resetting your sail, and focusing you to move to move forward in your life
Yeah.
in whatever aspect it is.
And at this point, we just went through a couple of weeks ago the japa that changes your internal vibration, and helps you create a new destiny and frees you from many of your blocks in life. And right now, all of our classes, whatever services we have, they have shifted in terms of that, in terms of what they will offer. It will be much more powerful, much more healing than usual. As I said, from my first japa on the topic of love, I connected with you, and that brought you into my life, and then both of us to Dasha, and she learned exactly from the master of Sanamar Sign as well. So we have right now a chance to create a new projection and make our wishes come true in the upcoming year. It will be incredibly powerful and healing. And Thank you so much for all of you who've joined us in the live stream. We're going to be offering these packages. I'm going to be offering my private healing and private workshops from the past as a package, in which you can go and check out on my website.
And I have my New Year's packages on my website as well.
Thank you so much, Darshan, for joining me in this live stream.
Yeah, thank you so much for being my nudge and pushing me to 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 be on camera and share. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. You've been such like an anchor and a guiding light for me, and I'm super like grateful.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm really happy we got to do this live stream and talk about how we got here. How do we start to create the life that we want? If you guys have any questions, any topics that you would like to work with, please write to us.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.